What's going on, everybody? RabbitWerks JavaScript back at ya. It's been a while. So, how is everybody doing? So good to be back streaming again. Sweet. I can't wait. Okay, so I know I've been gone for a while. Sometimes you just gotta back from stuff and whatever. It's not a big deal. At least we're here now. What have I been up to this past, I don't know, 6 months, if not, well, spending a lot of time outside because it's summer and it was really nice, so you can't really beat that. And building a ton of gunpla, and setting up Philips Hue lighting systems and all that fun stuff. So I got a cool little setup now on it. And the cool thing about these, here, let me show you. Okay, sorry. So, light bulbs and all that cool stuff, and then the lighting strip back behind the desk, and all the sweet gunpla. Fakeness, it's webcam. Anyways, cool. So this is just going to be kind of a chill stream. I'm just going to walk through a project that I've been kind of getting myself back into. I haven't really been doing any coding late, just kind of get, and haven't really had much motivation due to personal crap and all that stuff. So not a big deal. We're here now, so take these off because I don't need them. All right, cool. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're gonna start at this project that I'm working on. So up here in the scene, and yes, I do have minor mic issues apparently. What's the issue? Mic is cutting a bit. Okay. Here, how about that? Is that better? I think this is the first stream on RabbitWerks that I've used my Focusrite on. So it's a new interface. Well, not new, but it's a new interface for the stream. So, okay, cool. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at right now. This is like a bunch of scrambled up stuff at the moment. Let's close out all this garbage. But basically, this is just like a basic like website. My brother started a handyman business, and he was talking about getting a website put together, and I was like, hey, what better way for me to jump back into coding and getting projects started than to try and help him out by building something. And so that's what I did. So it's just pretty much practice. There's no value to it or whatever between him and I or whatever. It's just something I wanted to do for fun, and it gave me something to, like, some sort of starting point basically. So let me get this going. We can just show you what's going on here. Looking at my words per minute have gone down a little bit too, so I apologize. Alright, cool. Give that a second to spin up. Oh, that logo needs to go. Oh wait, that's a. Never mind. It's this the stupid logo for subscribing on YouTube. Never mind. I'm talking to myself. Okay, so it's up and running. Let's see what we got. Okay, so actually this is being. I started designing this at 2560 by 1440, so it might look a little off, but not a big deal. So basically we got, your big heading or whatever, your menu up here, phone number if you want to get any work done. Big stupid, well, not stupid, big hero, and then like content, like a basic simple contact form for quick access will go there. Your typical like mobile first design with panels, what we do. We got 3 different panels. I got some of that, zoom in animation, whatnot, kind of neat. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. But, and then some customer customer testimonies and whatnot. Cool thing about this right now is like I got figured out how to do anchor tags on Vue, or not anchor tags, but like navigating to a certain spot on a different page using Vue router, which it's not that complicated, but it wasn't like very straightforward either. We got that. So this is our services page. Basically has the same stuff just for placeholders at the moment, kind of just screwing around with that. And then we got our footer down here. So this is what you would typically see. And that's pretty much all I have at the moment. We're going to have an about page once I have some content from him if he chooses to go forward with this, a gallery, and then a more advanced contact page. So there's not, basically what I have right now is home and services. So, you know, basic informational website, I guess. And yeah, it does. I was actually it does have an update. I was gonna update it, but then I just decided to wait until afterwards because I can update it really quick after the fact. It's not a huge deal at the moment. But okay, so let's look at the code. I suppose we can start from basically, I mean, it's just a basic Vue project. I was just pretty much putting this together to refresh myself more than anything. So we have, it's a Vue project with a store and a router, and you have the main app.vue, that good stuff, a navbar component that sits in the app.vue because that doesn't go anywhere. We want that to be across the whole site. We got our views, so we got our home page, which has so basically just like the container, hero section component, main services section component, customer testimonies section component. Basically, yeah, pretty much a typical Vue app. Not too much going on at the moment. Obviously, these pages are blank. But so what I thought was really cool was like what I was talking about was navigating to navigating to a certain like ID on a different page using the router. And let me see, where did I have that code at? Right here. So inside it, when you create a new Vue router, there's a property on there, or function on there that you can call that's built in called scroll behavior, and you can have a to and from and saved position. So what this does is basically it emulates what a basic like HTML based website would do, like where it's not like a single page application like something like React or Vue or anything, because the typical behavior for that is if you do click the back button, it's going to bring you to the top of the page that you were, or view that you were just at. Whereas when you use the scroll behavior here, and it says if to hash, then return selector the hash of the target that you're trying to go to. And if there's a saved position, if we click the back button, say we're like halfway down on the page, which I can demonstrate in a second. Well, I'll just do that right now, I suppose. So I'm at the home section. I'm like, okay, let's see. Let's click indoors. Cool. We bring that. So it brings us. This is what that scroll behavior does. Is it brings us to the top of this component, which has the ID of like service indoors, and using that ID, we can target that as the hash to go to. So if we look up at this, I don't know if you can read it very well, but if you were to just do like an anchor tag to that, or just a typical router link, it wouldn't go anywhere. It would just bring you to the top of the page. But using the scroll behavior, it will bring us to whatever hashtag is, or ID is passed into it. And then, okay, so yeah, so going past that, the other part of this cool little thing, and it can get more complicated than that, but this is all the functionality that I really needed out of this function for Vue, or for the Vue router. So the saved position, this is what was like gives you kind of that legacy HTML website feel. So we're at the indoors section. We want to go back to the main page. It brings us back to the what we do. section, or where exactly where we were before we left the page to the next page, so to speak. So that's really cool. Otherwise, it would just bring us back up to the top here, and that's gotta be. It's not like the best user experience when you have to sit there and scroll back down to where you were at just because you clicked the back button. And it's not very user friendly if it's just like, if all these links were just like, okay, well, all of them are just going to bring us to the top of the services page. It kind of doesn't make any sense to have them even be links. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a nice feature to have because it gives that usability aspect to the user a lot more smoothly than if you weren't to have that. So I thought that was really cool. Just check on chat really quick. Talking about VS Code updates, Insider Edition, daily updates now. Could be weekly. I don't really know. My VS Code on this computer, because some of you may know that I built a computer and I had to redo all of my software and get all that stuff set up, but for whatever reason, and I just really haven't buckled down to it, mainly because I haven't really been using VS Code lately, but getting my global settings set up so that it's a lot more user-friendly on my end, because right now, like, especially like with using ESLint, it's been really frustrating, because it's like, if you have one thing wrong and you're just using their rules, Airbnb, @Vue Airbnb, and plug in Vue Essentials, it'll basically crash your app anytime, even if you're missing like a comma, semicolon, if there's like there's two lines of empty space versus one, it's just a pain in the butt. So started doing that. I'm going to have to put all of this together in a global ESLint rule that I can call for all of my projects. But it's just been kind of tedious, to be honest. It seems like I always have to sit there and like edit the rules, and I mean, there's only 3 of them in here now, but like it's like for other projects that I've been kind of dabbling in, it's like everything crashes everything, and it's just very it's very inconducive, I don't know if that's a word, to being productive. So anyways, that's pretty much that, and I think it's been pretty cool. I want to start checking out the Vue 3 release. I know that HTML All the Things have been doing that for a while, and seemed to like it. I mean, I did the first look a while back at when it was called like the functional API, and then they changed it to composition API, and I don't know if it's changed since then. I'm sure there's been a lot of updates to it and whatnot, but that's for another time. I'm going to get a project together using that, or maybe we can try and convert one of the old projects that we used in Vue 2 to Vue 3, so we'll have to see where that goes. Let's see, what else? I'm kind of rusty at this whole thing right now. Oh yeah, and I did do some updates on my Flexbox utility library. I added a lot more shorthand classes to it, so you don't have to sit there and type out everything. So definitely check that out on my GitHub. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm just working on this project. What I need to do, I think, what was I doing last time? Oh yeah, just it's hard to read. Outdoor services. I'm going to check my styles really quick and make sure I don't have any duplicates or unnecessary styles. So like, for instance, this is the odd job services component, which would be the third component down, and clearly you can see like there's these styles in there that aren't necessary. And everything is usually what I do, if you've watched me code before or looked at any of my projects, is 9 times out of 10 I'll always scope the component. Because usually the way I look at it is like, I don't want any of my styles for this specific component. It doesn't need to go outside of it, so why not just contain it? And it seems to work pretty well, because I can still use my global component or assets or styles as having like my main CSS file. It's got my variables, the font that I'm using that I can use across the app, and it just makes everything a lot more concise, so you don't have to sit there and like worry about bleeds between styles and whatnot. But clearly, so we come back to odd job services, you don't need all this stuff in there, so we can just delete that. But I want to make sure what that does not affect anything negatively, or if I need to add something in there to make sure to do it, because this is what that is right now. It says indoors, but none of the information has been updated, because I just pretty much just wanted to get that third component in at the moment, and so I copied and pasted from the indoors component. So I guess, I don't know, we can just start by, I don't really have, like I said, waiting on content, and I can just make some stuff up or use lorem ipsum, but might as well just use the same stuff over and over again. So I need to switch all this stuff out. And make sure that this is accurate. Odd jobs. Then I want to come back into, now that we have that ID set up properly, go back into the services view, and I can change, oh wait, let's see, services view, no, not the view, reusable item paneling. There you go. So this is another interesting thing that I came across, and I don't think I've come across this before, but I was trying to use some images dynamically, because these are reusable components. So like the panel item, for instance, is what you would be looking at. So these are like the panel items. So I wanted to reuse that. I didn't want to have to sit there and like have 3 or 4 different panel items just for specific cases. So what I did was put some logic in to that, basically, so that I can like render the images specific to the panel that it's supposed to be on. But when I tried to put in like assets, images, like originally the panel data image file name had that whole string in there. So if we go down to, where is it? Even past it. Services, panel data. Lost already in my own thing. That's okay though. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Okay. Looking in the wrong spot. Okay, so this is where my data is sitting at. So I passed panel data in. Panels, it's just basically, everything is stored in the data function right now for these components until I start getting everything kind of like figured out a little bit structurally better, and then I can I'm going to start moving that stuff over to the store when I have a better idea of what all information I'll be working with. But right now I'm just kind of keeping track of it in the specific components, which at this point it probably would make sense to start moving it over. Which you could probably start doing that tonight for something to do. But for what I'm talking about right now is like, okay, for instance, image file name, right now it's just home/main services CTA and then the image file name. But if I were to do like at assets slash image slash home main services. Then went over to the panel item, and for like, okay, for this first panel, just replaced, instead of having the string interpolation and then adding on the remaining file name, if I were to just do that, it was giving me an error, or it wasn't actually loading the picture, so, or the whole panel for whatever reason. So I figured out that you have to actually do this require statement and have like apparently this much. I don't know exactly how much you would need, but I just added that and did the anything past the image folder used that string in the image file name, and it seemed to work for me. Yeah, ESLint has good had a pretty good documentation. I remember when it was a pain in the butt when I was trying to set it up, because I kept adding and like changing rules and whatnot, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Because like if you look at like here, you can use either off warn or error, whatever, or you can do like 12012, and I was trying all those different things and nothing was working, and I was still getting the same errors. And me, being a goofball, didn't realize that you have to restart your application for it to take effect, and or like spin the whole thing up again, and like not just have it like hot reloaded. You'd have to actually kill the service and start it up again for the ESLint changes to take effect. And I didn't realize that. It was driving me nuts. I was like, why can't I get this to work? I was doing everything that like the quick answers on Google or whatever was giving me, but I didn't look too far into it. And then I was actually looking at the docs, and they're like, oh yeah, you have to restart your terminal for the effects for the effects to take place, or for the changes to take effect. And I was just like, what? Okay, it's that simple. All right, cool. Do it, and it worked like a charm. So that was kind of tricky, but you know, being so rusty in this whole thing, you gotta you gotta get back on your feet and just keep moving. So yeah, that was interesting with the panel item. I don't know exactly why that is, but I don't know. Just make it work the way it's supposed to work, I guess. Another part of this that I had in the panel, the panel item, is some logic to say that if there is a navigation route or a navigate route parameter in the data being sent to this, then we would add, basically this router link would be wrapping the whole thing, right? And then else it would just put in the essentially the panel without any routing in it. So it's a vif velse kind of thing, which is view directives. So this is the vif, and if that doesn't have a navigate route, then it just loads up the panel as a static item or element. And it does it for all three, which is kind of neat, because then you don't have to sit there and create two separate panels, one with routing and one without routing kind of thing. And it's just all about trying to keep your code as efficient as possible, I suppose. Okay. Let me see what we got for the other one. So if we look at the row item, we have a little bit different logic in this one. Actually, row item, let's see, close this out, get a better view. Actually, so these are the orientation, because if we look back at the project, give this a refresh really quick. I think I actually have to go back and change that setting, or the line of code in here. Yeah, so we just want to delete this assets image. And I didn't check this when I was running into that error, but it could be because I was using the @ sign instead of actually doing the direct path to it or relative path to it. But that could be the case, but oh well, this seems to work. So yeah, so let me take a look at that website again. So it reloaded, and let's go down to yours. So this one's set on, I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this, but I feel like if I was going to have 3 different panel things and like with information on it per section, like it would be kind of redundant to keep them all on the left side, it would kind of bleed into each other. So I was thinking about trying to go about doing this reverse orientation for the second one, and then reverse orientation for the third one. And I don't know, it seems to work. But the way that I went about going with that is, if we look at, it's not there, it's services.vue, right? No. Okay, yeah. So each service component, so there's 3 of them in the main services view, indoor, outdoor, and odd job services. Each of them have their own data in them, just to fill out the blanks right now. And you can see that these don't have a navigation route on them. I don't know why they would. I don't think I added that in. Might have to remove that actually. Yeah, that shouldn't be in there, but that's what happens when you copy and paste. To save time, I guess. But anyways, that's not the point. Point is like to set that orientation, what I was doing was I would have each panel information right there, and then where is it? Nope, wrong one. What am I doing? Apparently I'm going crazy. Render direction, right, okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so that, actually what I'm doing with that, I think, if I remember correctly, I'm jogging my memory, because it's pretty bad these days. Let's take a look at outdoor really quick. I think I'm actually just using Flexbox to do it. Oh no. Okay, so right here. Let me pull up this one for comparison. So you can see the row item on this one, it just has row data and everything like that, just basic, the information being passed down to the row item component. But on the outdoor services, that's the one that has the reverse orientation on everything. And we went around, and for this one it's a little bit more tricky because I have to add a Flexbox utility class that gets put on there if the row data render direction equals right. So if we scroll down to the bottom, I have the property on here for render direction right. And eventually all three of these service components are going to have that render direction on there just to be able to keep it consistent if it needs it. But right now I didn't have that in there for the other two, just to keep it simple, I guess, and just to confuse myself. So what we're doing here, for anybody that's not familiar with Vue, is we're binding to the class attribute, so like HTML classes, and we're going to apply the class fd-rr, which stands for flex direction row reverse, which is Flexbox class, takes it and reverses the arrangement of the order of the items, elements. So this is going to be based on if row data.render direction is equal to right, and same thing for all these. So it's probably an easier way to do that, but for right now that's what I came up with, and we'll refactor after, once we get a little bit further ahead. And then we're binding to the style, HTML or CSS style attribute, and applying the text align property. So text align property to row data dot render direction. I don't even know if we're using that anymore. let's see. What is it? Text align. Now I'm confused. Oh, that's right. Okay, so the text align is going to be right, because so what this does is it sets the text align property to whatever this value evaluates to. So in this case, it's going to be right, because that's what we have set down here. So since it's just a string, we don't need to do any other thing than that, because technically if we wanted to just have that as a style, it would just be like, you know, text align right. So basically that's what it's doing based on if, or just because this has render direction on it. We could do this for the other components, like the indoor services one. I could do that here, but I feel like that's not necessary because it's never going to be used, and it's just extra code for no reason, because they're already left orientated as it is. Orientated, is that a word? Oriented? Left oriented. Okay, so let's see. So you can clearly see that there's it's basically lorem ipsum for each of the components, but actual words. I want to take a look at my store really quick, because I haven't done anything in here. So if I wanted to look at and figure out, start structuring that out, I guess. Let's see, what has information on it that needs to be passed into it? Start with that. Not that. This is not done yet. So this would be the main one. So I guess if I was gonna do, I would have to have for customer testimonials and main services section. So those two would have to go into like a home section in the store. Essentially, maybe break it down between the different services, but I don't know, because okay, so main services, that's that page. Between the different views. I'm trying to think of what would be easiest starting out with, or not easiest, but most effective. I mean, you can always refactor. Let's see. Close that out. I want to pull up the store. Okay, so I guess for the sake of simplicity, we can just go ahead and just try and start this. Actually, I'm going to bring this one over here. Bring these over here. Alright, so it's been a while since I used vuejs, so it might be a little rusty as well. Here we go. What am I going to do first? Let's start with the main services section, because that's technically, or hierarchically, the top subtext. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just copy all of this out. Let's see. So let's see. State, we want main. So home. That into an object, and then main services. And that can be an object, and inside of that, we just paste all that garbage in there. So let's see. I'm gonna just make this a little bit smaller. And word wrap. This a little bit smaller. There we go. Yeah, so basically we got main services, text. Looks like everything is there. Make sure I'm not missing any brackets. Cool. Yeah, it's giving me a warning, so they have AI files in this project. So let's be crazy. Let's just take off panel. Panel data 1. I'm definitely gonna have to look up this stuff because I cannot remember. So panel is a reusable item, and we want to send in this information from the store. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's see. How do we do that? I can't remember. You got to, let's take a quick gander at the vuejs docs, because otherwise I'm never going to be able to remember this. There we go. Blah, blah, return state, store.state.counter. Okay, let's see. Store. Oh yeah. This dot store.commit. No, I don't want that. You'd think I'd be able to remember this stuff, but nope. Taking Vuex state into components. How do you do that? Computed property. Since Vuex stores reactive, the simplest way to achieve is simply returning from the computed property. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Do I have to import the store? No, it's imported into the app.view, that view or whatever, so I don't need to do that. Yeah. So we need to create a computed property. And then inside of that, we'll just do, we'll just say panel 1 for now, just to match it up. And that is going to be a function that returns, wait, let's see, returns store dot, or yeah, store dot state. Or do I have to do $sign store? I can't remember anything. Let's see. Turn store.state.count. Okay. Store.state.home. Main services. Dot. Data. Dot. Trailing. Oh my god. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, why does everything have to crash the app? I just don't get it. There's 26 errors, but they're all indent. So, common dangle is from this, I think. But let's go into ESLint. That. So I don't want it to crash the app, I just want it to warn me. And like I was saying now, and then also let's do the comma dangle too. Dangle. Warn as well. Alright, so like I was saying at the beginning, I was going crazy trying to figure out why these never took effect, and you have to actually spin up your whole service again. We don't need all that because we're already in that directory. While we wait for that, and running again. Let's see if now our app crashes. Look at that, it works, wow! But I still have a ton of errors. And apparently this is broken again. Oh yeah, because we took that out. Alright, so now that we have that, this should return properly now. So if we use panel1 instead of data panel.panel1, it should be the same result. Let's take a look and see what we got. This is erroring out on me. 2 lines. Store is not defined. Stores? I thought store was registered globally. God, go away. Wait, you're saying that, right? Store is not defined, missing comma. Store is not defined, okay. Oof. Is it, how do we do this? It's in our Vue app. Should have access to it. Yeah, I mean, am I missing something? Finding the store option or root instance. Oh, this dot $ store. Okay. This dot $ store? Or is it just dot $ store? Let's see if that worked. It worked. Cool. Do we have the same functionality? It looks like it. Awesome. Cool. We're slowly regaining our steppings here. But this is kind of verbose just to pull it in. There's obviously an easier way. I just can't. I won't be able to remember it right now. Well, we could try and do that with all 3 of them since we're here. Just duplicate them, I suppose, and adjust these. As such. Oh, I need semicolons. Semicolons cannot save you. Oh, wait, commas, my bad. Cool. So we got that in. Let's go ahead and just delete all this, since we don't need that. We didn't put our 3s in there. Alright. I'm going to go up here and delete panel data so we don't have that in there. Cool. And then, actually, I think that we don't even need to do anything on the other side on the store because it's already in there. Maybe, let's see what we got here. Go back to home. Refresh. What do we have? We have indoors, outdoors. I'm missing something. What are we missing? Let's see. Panel 3. Alright, let's see. Store. We have the panel 3, panel 2, panel 1. There's a panel 3 showing up. I wonder, Oops, let's see, let's inspect. Not that. It's like, wow, that's all the code it takes to make this web page? Wow. Gosh. Okay, inspect. Let's look at the Vue dev tools. So we got errors here. What was it telling me? Forgot there's a console in this thing. Cannot find home.main services CTA block 1. Saying I can't find the image. So let's go take a look and see where it is. So this is what it's throwing back, is home service, main services, CTAs, small engine service block 1. And it's pretty much the same route as the other two images. Well, it is the same route other than the actual image file. And that would be services and home, main services called actions, small engine service, it's right there. Image, home, main service, blah blah blah, that and that, isn't that? I wonder why it's not finding it. Take a look one more time. It's because there's two spaces here. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I accidentally, because it word wrapped, so I was trying to tab it out there, so there we go. That should fix the issue. Oh, maybe not. Let's try and refresh. Oh, that wasn't it. Do I have another space in there? That shouldn't be. Yep. Okay. And there we go. Okay, cool. So we got them all three in there. Looks like all of them work. Just double check. And that link doesn't work. Okay. So let's figure that out. That link doesn't work. Panel 3. Woo! Thank you. Oh my lord. Okay, let's see. Why doesn't that not work? Because we don't have our navigation route. Was that the same on the other? It might have been the same on the other one because I didn't actually have that ID set yet. That makes sense. Okay. So let's just take this. Actually, screw it. Let's just not be lazy and just type it in. Services / and then this is where you put that hashtag in. So this is the hash that it's going to look, that scroll behavior is going to look for. This is like the toHash function. So if we look back really quick at the router, just to jump context for a second. So what it's saying is that when you click a link or a route, you got these three parameters, to, from, saved position. It's kind of like Node.js, where even though you might not use it, you still need those parameters, because if I were to just remove from here, it would act as if this saved position was the from parameter. So it's like, or I guess it's not Node.js, it's Express.js inside of Node. They have like the res rec, and most of the time you won't use the res, but if you, well, not most of the time, but if you needed to just make like a request and you don't need a response object, but you still need those two parameters in the function, otherwise it thinks that the rec is the res, and or vice versa, however it is. Yeah, rec and res, not res and rec. My bad. So yeah, what it's doing is looking for it gets the value of the route or the link that it's trying to navigate to, and it checks if there is a hash in there, and that when we put that in right here, that's the hash it's going to be looking for. And if it sees that, it's going to parse it and figure out where exactly that is on that page, and if it is on that page, it's going to bring you to that, which is kind of neat. I called it. let's see if that link works. Link lurks. Oh, look at it, it's blue! Oh, God. Why is it blue? It shouldn't have been blue. Now it's not going to be blue. That's okay, though, because it shouldn't be going forward. It's probably just because I made a change to it, and it just rendered it as a normal, like, with the styles of a normal hyperlink or whatever. Okay, where are we at here? So yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, like, I'm definitely going to be putting some more hours of practice, getting myself back up to par with all of this stuff. Clearly, if you have been a part of the channel for a while, you know that I can navigate around Vue and vuejs pretty decently for the most part, so I definitely feel like I've lost a lot of skill, not skill, but like a lot of practice in the last handful of months. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to keep yourself sane and step away from stuff for a little while, I guess. I think, just going off a tangent here, I think one of the big things, contributing factors to me getting, I guess what you could say is I got burnt out from coding, and I was doing a ton of live streaming, not necessarily with RabbitWerks, but like with a band that I'm in, and doing some gaming stuff, and I was working on a podcast, doing a lot of video editing, basically just burnt myself out, and I was just like, okay, I need to get away from things. And it was really nice out, and this summer spent a lot of time on the lake and the jet ski and all that stuff, really just kind of getting away from everything and clearing my mind a little bit, apparently a little bit too much, but that's okay. The important thing is, like I said, that you can recognize that and take steps so that you're able to take a break and come back to it versus just like rage quitting and just never coming back. And I was kind of on the verge of that, not necessarily rage quitting, but like just so fed up with everything. Like another point that I was going to bring to the like the burnout aspect is like the job interview process. Trying to find a job as a self-taught web developer, JavaScript programmer, all that stuff. It go to job interview after job interview after job interview after job interview, like one after another. And I'd like ace the interviews, do really well. Managers were like super happy, you know, because I knew what I was doing back at that point, and I just didn't have a 4-year degree or some sort of formal accreditation saying that, yeah, this kid knows what he's doing, other than the fact that I have a YouTube channel and a huge GitHub and like all these projects, like from start to finish, and for the most part. And I just got to the point where it's like, you know what, I can't do this. Like, it's too taxing on me to sit there and go through job interviews one after another and just get rejection after you just feel like you crushed it over and over again. It was really frustrating. So that was a big contributing factor to it. I just was like, I'm never going to be a web developer, and I just got all like blah 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 down about it and kind of just stepped away from it, on top of all the other things that was causing burnout as well, like stuff in my personal life as well. Yeah, I don't know. So what I'm doing right now is, I know probably most of the people have heard of the Free Code Camp accreditation program. Like, if you can get certified through Free Code Camp, and that's actually a very legitimate certification, and it's recognized by some of the top Fortune 500 companies out there, like Google, Amazon, Netflix, stuff like that. So that's a good starting point, because I was seriously considering jumping into a boot camp for 6 months, paying $16,000 or whatever just to get a job. And that's just, to me, that doesn't make sense. You listen to the industry, and from what my understanding, I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, from what I understand, the industry is very lacking in developers and needs all the help it can get. So like, it comes down to the fact where everybody needs all this help and all this manpower, but they're so picky, and like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be a more qualified candidate than you, unless you're like the ace developer, or the what do they call it? The 1 in 10. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But like that's just life. There's always going to be someone better than you, and that shouldn't disqualify you or discredit you from being qualified for the position. I mean, yeah, it might be a little bit over your experience requirement, but that's what learning is about. Like, name one college you can go to and learn how to program in JavaScript. I mean, it probably is popping up more and more now, but like, it's like web development isn't like one of those traditional software engineering degrees kind of thing like that. You know what I mean? Like, you can learn how to program and like write software applications, but it's a whole different thing when you're building websites. So to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and that was really frustrating. So yeah, enough ranting. I'm just gonna go through that HTML, all the things plug, but the free code camp, see how far I can get in that, and just keep plugging along, I guess. You know, it's all about getting that motivation back and doing what you need to do. What I do want to do, though, probably not going to do much more tonight because my brother needs to get on his video games. But anyways, what I do want to do, though, I think a cool project would be is, like I mentioned, I have all these Philips Hue. I got 5 different ones that I have, 2 floodlights, 2 normal lights, and a light strip. And Philips Hue actually has an open developers API that you can write applications for. And I think that would be really cool to try and do once I get my feet back up and running and stuff. I think that would be a really fun project to do. Because then at that point, like, if anybody looks at like Coding Garden with CJ or anything like that, he's got tons of integrations to his Twitch stream, and it's just cool because I would like to, my dream is to be able to like have a Twitch stream and have like a command, and you can type in like basically target a light, or like have maybe not target a light. I think that's a little bit too ambitious, but to start, maybe just have like commands like bang theme 1 or bang theme 2, and like you could enter that in the chat, and then it would change the colors of the lights, which might not be a good idea, I guess, but like, I don't know, I think it would be really cool to have somebody remotely be able to change the colors in here that's on the stream. We can talk about stream interaction. So, I don't know, we can actually take a look at that. I want to see before we get off of here. I'm going to try and get back to at least streaming once a week. Probably, I don't really know what day. I don't think I'm going to have a specific schedule right now because of everything with the blah blah virus that's going on. Things are kind of up in the air like crazy. Oh, that's another thing that's causing burnout for everybody too. It's like this whole pandemic is really getting ridiculous. I mean, not saying that it's like a conspiracy, but it's starting to take its toll on a lot of people, myself included. Philips Hue bulb, Philips Hue API, that's what I want. Philips Hue API. We use cookies. Sure, whatever. So yeah, they have a whole developer section for their products, and I think it'd be really cool to try and do a project like this. Let's see, Hue API. Let's see what I've got here. Oh, I have to log in. I thought I do have a login here. Never. Let's take a look. Feedback on blah blah blah. Feel free to publish. Quite progressive policy with Hue. Free to create products. Cool. Get all lights. Okay. Cool. So it just returns a JSON object with the state. Looks like it has on, brightness, hue, saturation, effect, none. I don't think any of these have effects built into them. And then XY. I don't know what that refers to, but I guess we can figure that out when we come to it. Color mode XY. Oh, that's probably referring to I'm not even going to try and guess. Probably just the way that it interprets this in your code. Maybe I don't have any idea. State no updates. Type extended color light. Hue color lamp 7. Whoops. Capabilities. Verified true. Control. Min dim level. Max lumen. So you can control the lumens, huh? That's pretty cool. Max dim or min dim level, so you can have them like not go completely off. Big Sultan bulb. So yeah, so that was pretty much be a sample response for one of the lights that I have, specifically the ones in the lamp up there, because those are the Sultan bulbs and not the floodlights that are on this side. But I think that would be really cool. Get new lights. Sample response. So if you were to scan, so right now everything is going through Philips Hue Bridge. That goes to an app on my phone. So I'm wondering if you wouldn't even need to use that if it's going over, because everything has to be connected over Wi-Fi. I don't know. It'd be cool to find out. Cool. Yeah, this is pretty robust and detailed documentation. I'm kind of impressed. Anyways, that's pretty cool. We'll have to come back to that. I'll have to get a little project together to see how it works and kind of do some screwing around. And they have the groups API. You can turn on different groups or the scenes. So like, what I do is I have different scenes. You can change all the colors at once. That would probably be the way to go for like, if like somebody in the chat wanted to change like the scene of the room. So for instance, like I can do it really quick. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this in the background, but different scenes refers to like settings for all of the bulbs, or a certain amount of the bulbs versus just changing one of them. So if I want to change the scene for this room and say I want it to be like that, let's see, like a neon-y, like colors everywhere. Otherwise you can do bright. There's a ton of different ones built in, but basically it changes all of the lights as one into the different colors that they need to be, instead of having to choose or change each individual one. So it's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that. I think that if I can get that figured out, and it'll probably be an upcoming project very soon, because I'm super digging on these big time. Anyways, okay, so let me see, where are we at? I think we're gonna call it for the evening, because like I said, Broski wants to get on the game ski. So without anything else, thank you for all the additional subscribers in my time away. I really appreciate people still coming back to the channel and new people coming to the channel to check everything out. We're almost to 1,000 subs, so that's pretty cool. I mean, almost 3/4 of the way there to 1,000 subs. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, whatever platform you may. Make sure to check back. Like I said, I'm going to try and do these weekly. I don't really have a set schedule yet, but once I kind of get that figured out, you guys will be the first to know. Make sure to check out HTML Things. Link is in for the Discord. Link is in the description below. Check out RabbitWerks JavaScript or RabbitWerks Code Beats playlist on Spotify. Good lo-fi stuff to code to. I love listening to that when I code. And yeah, I think that'll do it. So thank you for everybody that tuned in, and we will see you on the flip side. Everybody have a great night or day wherever you were at. Bye.